Hello everyone and welcome to Sunburned. Albino is doing a Palworld Pal Name tier list. This is how good the names of the pals are. It's got nothing to do with their designs, that's going to come later. We're going to do something of like a full ranking down the road too. And I want to judge the names too, because some of the names are good, some of the names are bad. You've seen them, you've heard them, you have your own opinions on them. So let's go through them. In PAL deck order, apparently, which is very nice that it's ordered this way, especially because it helps if I forget a pal's name. I have almost all of them memorized, but there's, it's been like a week and a half. Might be a couple that slip through the cracks. Let's start, dude. Number one on the PAL deck is Lamball. I thought this dude's name was Lamball for like the longest time. But it's not, it's Lamball, and Lamball makes more sense, but Lamball, I think I'm still kind of a little attached to it. But Lamball, he's a ball, he is a lamb, he rolls around. Is very self-explanatory. Lamball is one of those things that, like, it goes together pretty well. It's a nice blend of two words, especially because the B in lamb is silent, so it's like the transition between those two things is much better. But it's not, like, supremely creative. It's just, like, it's kind of fine. It's okay. Like, I would give that... A Lamball, I would probably give, like, B tier, I would say. Like, there's names that perfectly convey the thing that you are, and then there's names that sound cool. I don't think Lamball sounds cool or particularly cute or anything like that. So I think B is fine for that. Number two, we have Cattiva. Cattiva. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's spelled weird too. There's two T's in it for some reason. It's Cattiva. I think Cattiva is like one of the worst names, and I'm willing to give it F tier. Like, obviously, yeah, it's a cat, but is he like sativa? Like, is he weed? Is that what they're going with this? I don't like the name, we put that in F tier. Next up is Chickapee. I think Chickapee is totally fine. It's a chicken, they call it Chickapee. It's like, has that cute little suffix at the end there, kind of like Togepi. I think that's okay. I would give that also B tier, probably. I think there's nothing wrong with that name. Next we have Lifmunk. I think Lifmunk is kind of dog shit as a name. You spend so much time in Palworld running around collecting the Lifmunk effigies, and I just don't like saying that. I'm like, oh, I gotta go get some Lifmunk effigies. I don't like the way that sounds. Is Lif like leaf? Maybe it's supposed to be pronounced Leafmunk, and it's just like the Japanese spelling of it, kind of. But I don't like Lifmunk. I don't like the way that translated to English, if that was indeed the issue. I'm giving... Lifmunk is probably D tier. Not quite Cattiva. Because at least, like, I know what they meant with this. Next we have Foxsparks. I think Foxsparks is another D-tier name. It doesn't roll off the tongue. I don't like saying it. It's like F-O-X and then Parks. So it's like the X from the Fox is also the S in Sparks. And I don't like the way that flows, man. I really don't. I think Foxsparks is D-tier. And as far as names are concerned, remember this is just about names. Then we have the fuck duck. His name is Fwack. F-U-A-C-K. He turned a 4-letter word into a 5-letter word. But we know where you were going with that. I actually think Fwack is... like, I think that's cute. Alright, then we have Sparkit here. S-P-A-R-K-I-T. It's fine. It's inoffensive. I think that's probably B tier also. I got nothing really to say about Sparkit. Then we have Tansy. Tansy, obviously a play on chimpanzee. I don't know what the tan part is, since it's green. Tansy is like, it's a name that I am fine to say, and I don't mind it, but I think it's probably like C tier because it makes a little bit less sense than these ones. But still, like I don't mind that name, it's totally fine. Then we have Ruby. I don't like Ruby as a name. It's R-O-O-B-Y. I'm not a big fan of Ruby. It doesn't evoke anything. It's just kind of like something you'd name your dog if you didn't know how to spell. Then we have Pengullet. Pengullet. It reminds me of like the Penn and Teller guy, but it's Pengullet, P-E-N, and then Gullet. I don't know, it's kind of whatever. It's kind of like Tansy to me. Like, I would give that a C tier. I don't love Pengullet as a name. I don't really like saying it. Maybe I would give that D tier, actually. I will definitely give that D tier. These are not going to be ordered. Like, some of the names for these ones kind of felt like AI generated. I know that's been a controversy, but like, while I am a Palworld defender in many respects, like, some of these names are just not it. And I think Penking is one of those. Like, Penking, honestly, like, kind of sucks so hard that it's F tier. I think that is... there's really no excuse for that one. Next up we have Jolthog. Jolthog is better. It is just like kind of a bland meshing of two different words to create the thing. Like it's a Jolthog. You know, it's electric type hog, so they did Jolt and then they did Hog. But like, you know, Pokemon is not immune to that. They did Volt Orb. That's basically the same thing as that. And I think Jolthog, like at least the words that they chose were better. Like Jolthog is better than Sparkhog or Electrohog, I think. Like, I think Jolt is the right word to use at least. And it also kind of sounds like Warthog, which is cool. So I think Jolthog is probably like B tier also. Gumas is probably, honestly, B tier in terms of name. Especially with what it is. Like, it's a gooey thing that is moss related, and I get it, and that's what it is, and I think that's fine. Does what it says on the tin. It describes what's happening. Vixie is cute-ish. It's fine. I would give it like C tier alongside Tansy. Tansy, Vixie, like these are just kind of like pet names. I know Vixie has more of a passing association with like foxes, like because of the word vixen. Like, it's more like something that you'd name, like, any animal, really. So I would give that C tier. Next we have Hoocrates. I like Hoocrates. I think Hoocrates is an A tier name. It's like Socrates, but who, because it's an owl. Dude, Hoocrates thinks, therefore he is. Is he the guy who says that? I don't even know. I don't know my philosophers. It's whatever, man. All I know is that Hoocrates, A tier name. I like it. Then we have T-Font, because it's an elephant that looks like a teacup or a tea kettle. That makes sense. T-Font, T-Fant, T-Font, T-E-A-F-A-N-T, however you want to pronounce it. I think T-Font is not my favorite. I would give that a C tier. Then we have Depresso. That's just like so on the nose that it's kind of bad. Like, it's a dude who's depressed, so we named him Depresso. You know? Like, there's not a whole lot of creativity that went into that one. I would give that one D tier. Cremis or Cremis. If it's Cremis, it's disgusting. If it's Cremis, it's still kind of gross. If it's Cremis, still kind of gross. I just hope it's not Cremis, because, dude, Cremis, your genus? Like, I don't like that. I would give Cremis... Should I give Cremis F tier? I honestly think Cremis should probably be F tier. That seems about right to me. Daydream, I think, is actually kind of cool. It kind of doesn't make sense, because it's a nighttime pal. And its name is Daydream. I guess that means it dreams during the day and it's active at night. Oh my god, dude, that's actually sick. But, you know, Daydream, it's D-A-E, Dream, which I like. Like, you kind of gotta do at least that as the bare minimum of not just naming it, like, Daydream straight up. So turning the Y into an E is a good call, and I would probably put that as either A or B tier. Let's go ahead and do A. Next up we have Rushor, which is just a combination of the words rush and bore with the B chopped off. Rushor, I think that's fine. That's like a C. That's a C tier name. That's average. Then we have Nox. Nox is kind of the same vein as like Vixie and Pansy, but Nox, because it doesn't end with a Y, it's not like cutesy. It kind of is like its own entity, so I kind of like that. I would give Nox B tier. Is that what it is? Fuddler? Yeah, Fuddler. That's a horrible name. But also it's kind of cute. Like, what does it do? It fuddles, and that's why it's called Fuddler? It's a fuddy-duddy? Is that... I'm not really sure, like, what the etymology behind this would be. I don't know that it makes sense to me personally, but it is kind of fun to say, so I'll give it that. Then we have Killamari. Killamari is a good name. Like calamari, but kill, because it's like this poison type thing. Well, it's not poison type, but it does poison stuff. I think Killamari is probably a decent A tier name. Mao is like this cute Egyptian cat, very cool. Mao is one of those names that is like, I'll give it B tier, because that's fine. I don't know what Celeray is like a combination of, because it's like, you got obviously the manta ray aspect, but then what's this, is it like a celery? Because that's not what it looks like. I don't know what the C-E-L-E, is it like celerity? Like celerity ray is a ray that goes fast, but it's not very fast. I think Celeray is probably D tier as a name. Then we have Direwolf. Direwolf is straight F tier. That is a horrendous name. There are things called direwolves. I don't know, are direwolves real, or are they just like a Canadian folklore thing? I don't know, they're wolves that are like big. I think, something like that. But yeah, Direwolf is a pretty horrendously terrible name. Then we have Toko Toko. I feel like Toko Toko matches the type of like derpy vibe that this thing puts out. Especially the fact that it will, like, light its own fuse and come run and explode your ass. I think Toko Toko... It's kind of like Tick Tick. Maybe that's actually what the... Like, Toko Toko is, like, Japanese for Tick Tick. Like, it's Tick Tick Boom, kinda. In which case, that makes sense. I would put that in B tier. Next up is Floppy. I assume that's how you pronounce it. It's F-L-O-P-I-E. So it's not floppy. Probably. I think Floppy is a horrendous name. I am gonna put that in F tier. I don't know what... It's like floppy because they're like floppy ears because it's kind of a bunny-ish sort of thing, I guess. But I don't think that that's particularly anything. Next we have Mozzarina. I like this. I like Mozzarina. I don't know why they went with like the cheese route though, because I know it's like a dairy cow. But like you don't have anything milk related, but you're gonna go sort of take an extra step and relate the name to cheese. I know that's also dairy. I mean, you know, Mozzarina is still like a pretty decent name. I honestly would give that A tier. Then we have Bristla. This sounds like a name that my friend would like invent for his character in a Dark Souls game. Bristla, Pashla, like just making shit up. I think Bristla does not sound very good, and so I do think that's probably D tier. We have Gobfin, which is Goblin and Fin. I think that's a little better. I would put that as C tier. Gobfin is fine. Next up we have Hangyu. I think Hangyu is a fantastic name. I think this pal in general is just like a really daring concept. Like it's a living noose that hangs people and like breaks their neck and shit. I really like that. I do, and at the Hangyu, it's Hangyu. Let me tentatively put that in S tier, and we'll see like what else we get by the time we get around to the next stuff. Then we have Moss Anda. This is a pretty sort of basic pairing of Moss and Panda. I don't think that deserves really any accolades. It's not like super stupid, but it's like C tier. You know, Moss Anda is something that sounds fine to say. That's not really a problem. I mean, for being like a woolly lollipop creature, Woollypop is pretty much the de facto thing that you would name that. So I think that's fine. I think you gotta go C tier there. Because it's like you did the expected choice with that. And that's fine. There weren't really a whole lot of other options for you. Next up we have Capridy. I like Capridy as a name. I think Capridy is an A tier name. I hate this pal because it's so annoying to catch in the beginning. But Capridy is a cool name. Then we have Melpaca. I don't know what the Mel part of this is. It's just an alpaca. But they gave us some other letters in the beginning. I think Melpaca is like D tier. Oh, here we go. Eikthyr. This might be like the worst name on the block so far. Eikthyr. 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 I feel like that was mistranslated somehow, because what the hell kind of syllables and letters are in that name? Like, that's awful. That's probably the worst name in Palworld right now, as of this list. We'll see if there's something worse, but I am this would go on the bottom right now. Then we have Nightwing. Nightwing is also pretty bad. So I'm also putting that in F tier. That's just N-I-T-E, wing. It's the most basic, like, seen-before thing that you could ever imagine. And this pal, like, it's not even dark type. It's called Nightwing. It flies around during the day. At night, it sleeps like a normal creature. So I don't know where the night part even comes from. They just kind of put it on there. Alright, then we have Ribbunny. Ribbunny, you know, Ribbunny. It's probably Ribbunny. That's probably how you say it. But it's, you know, R-I-B-U... It's actually R-I-B-B-U-N-Y. Oh yeah, because ribbon. Ribbon is with two B's. That makes sense. So they took out the double N in bunny, but they kept the double B in ribbon to get Ribbunny. I think it's kind of like weird to say, but I don't hate the concept. I would put that in C tier. Alright, then we have Incineram. This is just one step away from Incineroar, so... But like, as far as names associated with fire, I do think Incinerate as a word is one of the better things to, you know, make like a pun on. So I think Incineram has the right idea. I just think it's kind of lame. If Incineroar wasn't the thing, Incineram would probably be like B or A tier. Okay, then we have Cinnamoth. Not Incinemoth, but just Cinnamoth. I think Cinnamoth is totally fine. I think that is what it is. That's what it looks like. It's a moth. Cinnamoth, that's fine. That's B tier. Okay, Arsox, that shit sucks. That's another F tier. I It's an ox, I get that part, and I get that the first word is probably arson, so it's like arsox, as in like an ox that commits arson. Which conceptually is funny, but the name just doesn't sound very cool. I think arsox is pretty garbage. Dumud over here, I don't love it. It's kind of whatever. I would give that D tier. Cognito. This is Cognito, but it's C-A-W. Cognito, I'll put that in C tier probably still. I don't think Leespunk is very good of a name. I'm gonna put that in D tier. Then there's Loopmoon or Laupmoon. I have no idea what that's supposed to convey. It's a dark type, so the moon part makes sense, but I don't know what loop is. But yeah, as far as the name is concerned, I think Loopmoon is probably also D tier. Galeclaw is one of those things, like if you think about Talonflame, there were people when X and Y came out, Pokemon-wise, who looked at Talonflame's name, and they're like, dude, that's literally just 2 words shoved together. Pokemon's naming conventions have gotten soft. And in that regard, I do think that's kind of true. Like, Talonflame is kind of a lame name, but Galeclaw is the same thing. It's pretty lame. I would give Galeclaw D tier. It's like, if you're gonna have a name that's just 2 different words, they gotta go back together. Or they gotta go together better, I should say. Like Jolthog. Like, Jolthog just rolls off the tongue. That's why that's in B tier, even though it's the same kind of principle. Okay, then we have Robinquill. This is the very similar principle that we talked about, which is also bad. Robinquill is pretty garbage of a name. That is 2 words put together. The Robin is probably like Robin Hood, and then the Quill, because it like shoots arrows at you. Gory Rat's okay. I'll put that in C tier. Then we have Beegard. Beegard. There's no telling how you pronounce that. Beegarde. Beegard. It's probably Beegard, like on guard. I think that's okay. That's like C tier. That's not like the worst thing. And then Elizabeth or Elizabeth. That's probably D tier. I think that's worse than Beegard. And then Elizabeth is just like Queen Elizabeth, but it's a B. Maybe that's why where that came from is Queen Elizabeth. So Elizabeth. I don't know, but I don't like that name. So Grintail, I will put that in C tier, because this is a pal that grins all the time. It's got that Cheshire Cat smirk going on. Alright, next up is Swee. Swee is one of those cute names that's like, it doesn't really mean a whole lot, but it's just like, that's a pretty decent name for a thing that looks like that. It's like, oh, it's Swee, you know? Like, that's the sound you make when you see it. And then it's got like its quote-unquote evolution here, Sweepa. I think Sweepa is worse. Dude, if there's been cat hair in my nose this entire video, and I know you can tell, I know you've been seeing it. So there's not much left. Chillet. Chill E.T., basically. The name, I don't think is very good. It's kind of basic. It's just like, it's an ice-type dragon, so it's Chillet. Then we have Univolt. This is a lightning unicorn. Univolt makes sense. Not doing anything special. That's C tier. Foxicle. I think Foxicle is better than Foxparks. I'll tell you that. I think that's kind of like nice and fun to say. It doesn't look fantastic to look at in like to be read out. Like, I'm looking at the name Foxicle right now, Foxcicle. It doesn't look good on paper, but saying Foxicle is just fun. That's a fun thing to say. So I will give that B tier. Pyron, that's a D tier name, to be honest. Reindrix. Reindrix. Like reindeer and Jimi Hendrix. I don't know what the Drix part of this is. Name-wise, Reindrix, I don't love it. I think that's also D tier. Then we have Rayhound, which is like a lightning ray, or like an electric ray, and just the hound, but it's like a greyhound, so it's Rayhound. I understand. I think Rayhound is kind of a lame name. I'm also going to put that in D tier. Kitsune is a fox. Kitsune is Japanese for fox. So they just took the E off, and now it's Kitsune. But okay, Kitsune as a name, I think that's C tier. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Then there's Dazzy. I think that's a good name for like an electric pal that is also kind of like a little girl type of thing, or like a rebellious like teenage girl or whatever it is. You know, because it's Dazzy like Dazzle. And I think I think that gets the job done. That's a nice B tier name, sure. Lunaris. Lunaris is fine. It's not blowing the doors off. That's probably a B tier name. You know, Lunar and then Is, but it's not a dark type. It's just normal. But it's just one of those names that's like, it sounds cool to say, Lunaris. Like, that's fine. I'll put that in B tier. Then we have Dinossum. Dinossum is a decently good name, I think. It's awesome, and it's dinosaur, it's Dinossum. But it's, you know, the awesome is probably for Blossom rather than awesome. But either way, like, I think that's a good name. So good for that. Then we have Surfant, which is serpent and surf. Surfant. I would give that C tier. It doesn't say, it's not like, it doesn't really roll off the tongue a little bit. Like, you can say it easily enough, but it doesn't really sit right with me personally. Like, I just think Mawraith is kind of, that's a bit lazy. I don't really like that. I think that's D tier. Like, Wraith in and of itself is such a cool word that, like, to not capitalize on that is, man, you know what I'm saying? Okay, for the longest time, I thought this was Digitoys, because that's what everybody in my group was calling it. It's Digtoys. There's no I. It's dig and tortoise, those two words combined. This name is actually kind of horrendous. Digtoys, I don't even know how you're supposed to say it. Dictus? Because, like, if you say porpoise, you don't say porpoise. You say porpoise. And then Digtus. It doesn't look good, it doesn't sound good. I think Digtus, that's terrible. That sounds like an AI generated name. That sounds like a name created by someone who does not speak the English language. Then there's Tombat. I think Tombat is actually a great name. It's Tomcat and it's a bat. I think that is about as, like, perfect as you can have a two words put together thing. I think that is quite good. That might honestly go S tier. We'll see when we get to the end. But I think Tombat is a really good name. Then there's Lovander. The controversial 69th PAL deck entry, Lovander, with its G string and its gooch hanging out. I don't like the way it's spelled. It's love and ander, but it's Lovander, so there's no, like, E at love. And I don't think that it would look better if the E was there, but I think this is just, like, kind of a flawed concept from the get-go in terms of the name. Like, I just don't think the words love and salamander really go together like that. You can't really kind of split them in the middle and find something that works. So I think Lovander is kind of a lame name. Next up we have Flambell. I swear that Flambell is, like, from something else. I don't know. It's like Flambe and then Belle, because it's like a chick, kind of, but not really. I don't know. Flambell is like, it's okay. I would give it C tier. I think that's fine. Maybe not D tier, because it's like you say Vanworm and you don't hate yourself. So I think Vanworm it's okay. It's not the greatest thing. Then we have Bushi, which is like Nobushi, which I think was a type of, I think that was a fighter in For Honor. So I don't know the exact etymology of Bushi in terms of what it means in, like, Japanese fighting, but I know it's a Japanese warrior. I thought that Nobushi were, like, the female farm hands who were taught how to wield a glaive to, like, hit people from a distance or something. But this Bushi has a sword like a shinobi or a samurai. But Bushi is like, I don't like saying it really. I don't like saying, go Bushi! Like, damn, show me that Bushi. So don't say it like that either. But I think Bushi is, like, that's probably a D tier name to me. Beacon is also probably F tier. I think that's a horrible name. I fly this thing everywhere. This is my mount of choice. But Beacon, B-E-A-K-O-N, like, it's beak, but beacon, because it's, like, light, because it's, like, electric, but it's like, ugh, I don't like the way that looks. I definitely would not have named that, so I will put that in F tier for sure. Then there's Ragnahawk, which is like Ragnarok, but it's a hawk. I don't know that has anything to do with fire. Not that all the names have to do with what the element of the thing is, but I don't know. You know, Ragnahawk is better than Beacon. I think that's probably, I'll give it B tier, I guess. I feel like I'm being a little too harsh on these. Okay, next up we have Catris, which is just cat and enchantress. I think Catris is probably C tier, no better than Vanworm. I like the idea of the PAL more than I like the name of it. Then we have Wixen. Is it Wixen or Vixen? It's Wixen. So it's based off Vixen, but it's Wixen, like a wick of a candle, because it's fire. Wixen is pretty much in the exact same boat as Catris. That's fine, sure. Then we have Verdash. I do like Verdash as a name. It's like Verdant and Dash. V-E-R dash. I'll put that in B tier. Next up we have, I don't even know how to pronounce this. It's like Valet or Valet or Valet. Valet. It's Vaelet, so I don't know if it's like valet parking, or valet, like, I don't know, some kind of let. I think this name might actually be F tier, because I can't wrap my head around what that is supposed to mean. Then we have Sibelyx, or Sibelyx, Sibelyx. I don't know what words these are combining, if any. It's an ice type. I think that name kinda sucks. I think I'm also gonna put that in F tier. I also don't really know what words this is combining, but I think Elphadran is kind of a cool name. It's not the coolest of names, but I think it's okay, so I will put that in C tier. Then we have Kelpsy. Ooh, Kelpsy is actually a fantastic name. That goes into A tier, because it's like a seahorse, but it's also kelp, you know, like kelp. And Kelpsy, like that's good. That's about as good as it gets when it comes to combining names too, at that, so I would give that A tier as well. Azurobe. That name kind of also sucks. I'm gonna put that in D tier. Cryolinx. Lynx as in cat, because I don't get cat vibes from this thing. Cryolinx. I think that's also D tier. Then we have Blaze Howl. That's another just 2 words they stuck together, and I don't think they're very good. I'm putting that in D tier as well. Relaxaurus. Here's the thing. Everybody that I know calls this Relaxosaurus, but apparently it's just Relaxaurus, like relax and then A-U-R-U-S. I think they should just change it to Relaxosaurus, because I think that's more fun to say. I like saying that more. So we're gonna say that Relaxaurus is bad, because no one wants to say that. They want to say Relaxosaurus. But if it was Relaxosaurus, that would be like A tier. But because it's not, I'm saying that Relaxaurus is F tier, because like the public basically decided that we have a better name for your pal than you do. Next up is Broncherry, Brontosaurus and Cherry. I like Broncherry. That's fine. I would put that in C tier. That's not like offensive or super cool to me. I think Broncherry's okay. Maybe it should go in B tier. I'll put it in B tier. Then we have Petalia. I like Petalia. That's another B tier. I don't love Reptyro, but I don't hate Reptyro either. You know, Pyro, Reptile, it's very basic. Nothing wrong with it, but nothing terribly right with it either. Kingpaca. See, this is better than Penking. Penking sounds awful, but Kingpaca for alpaca, because it's the king of alpacas, is a little better. So I'll put that in C tier. Then we have Mammarest, which is just mammoth and forest, probably, because of the grass association. Mammarest. That could be C tier, I guess, sure. These names are really not blowing the doors off. I want to see more S's and A's coming up here. There's an S that we haven't seen yet that I know I'm putting an S, and I am excited for that. But okay, now we have Wumpo. Is it Wumpo or Wumbo? It's Wumpo with a P. I think Wumpo is a great name. Wumpo is probably A tier. Warsect, War and Insect, not rocket science. I feel like that's C tier. I feel like that's okay. I don't really know what my criteria even is for this. It's just like either name that combines 2 words but does it in a cool, not like the most basic possible way, or like a new word that feels like it should belong in the lexicon, or names that are funny in a good way. I don't like I don't like the way that sounds. Fangalope. It's like antelope, and I don't really know what the F-E-N-G is. Fang. It's not fang. Maybe that should be F tier, honestly. I'll put that in F. Then we have Fellbat. Fellbat is kind of cool. Not as good as Tombat. But I do like the word fell in regard to, like, something that's evil. Like, oh, it fell from heaven, like the fallen angel or something like that. Or like the fell dragon in Fire Emblem. So I enjoy that. I think that is cool. And then it's attached to bat, so I think Fellbat is probably B tier. I feel like you could make that cooler than they did. Is it Quivern or Quivern? I don't know. It's Q-U-I. I would say Quivern. Sometimes I catch myself saying Quivern. Probably D tier. Like, what's even the Q? Like, this Pokemon isn't quick, is the thing. So, like, it can't be quick and Wyvern, because this is a slow-ass dude. So I don't know what the Q is in regard to. Is it about, like, quivering. I haven't really seen it quiver when I've walked up to it. Alright, then we have Blazomet. Blazomet is actually a great name. That's gonna go in A tier. Bahamut and Blaze. That's much cooler marriage of two words involving Blaze than Blaze Howl is. That's for sure. Where did Blaze Howl go? Right here. Yeah, like Blazomet is just like, that's better. That's better, and it should be, it deserved the A tier. Hell Zephyr. It's, I don't know, it's maybe just the fact that it's the 3 syllables and like those letters that like it's not really fun to say. But conceptually, Hell Zephyr sounds good-ish. And then when you say it out loud, it's, not really. Yeah, I will probably put that in D tier. Okay, then we have Astagon, which is like Astaroth, maybe, is the inspiration. But it's a giant jet black tank dragon, and it's called Astagon, A-S-T-E-G-O-N. I think Astagon is okay. Like, if I look at this and I say, that's Astagon, like, that does sound like a powerful name for this dude. So I can feel the prestige emanating from the name Astagon in regard to being associated with this visual. So that's probably a success, but it's not like a huge success. Then we have Menacing, which is a scorpion. It's menacing and it has a stinger. I understand where they went with this one. That makes sense. Menacing is probably B tier also. Then there's Anubis. That's just like a thing that already exists, is Anubis. It is already a character. Anubis has been in so many games as exactly its own representation of itself. Just like the, you know, Egyptian thing with the dog head that kind of does whatever. So this is just that. It's just Anubis, but it's a pal. But it's just, I don't know, it's like kind of, it's Anubis. I guess I'll give it C tier just because it is what it is. I don't know. Jormuntide is maybe the best name in Palworld. Jormuntide. This is like Norse or Greek. I don't know if it's Greek or Norse, but I think it's Norse. Mythology type of deal, so Jormuntide, like saying the Y as the J, or the other way around, I mean. That sounds so cool. Like, this is some God of War shit right here. Jormuntide is a fantastic name. And then the Jormuntide Ignis is its other thing, which the Ignis really adds to it in my estimation, so I'm actually going to put this, even though we're not really usually doing this, I think the Ignis is nothing but a benefit to the name here. Jormuntide Ignis is probably, like, hands down the coolest name in this game. Suzaku is fine. That's B tier. I don't really know what it means. I don't know, do people in Japan think that that's cool? Like, the only reason we think it's cool is because it's, like, just a Japanese word, and that's different from our language. You know, it's like we name something Kitsune, and we're like, ooh, that's so cool. But in Japan, it's like, oh, I named this fox. Isn't that awesome? Oh, well, that's fine. Then we have Grisbolt. Grisbolt is sort of like a grizzly bear, but bolt. I don't know if it's a bear. It doesn't really look like a bear. But it can still be grizzled, or grizzly. That's probably B tier. I guess that's okay. Then we have Lylene. I think Lylene is an A tier name. It's like, it's one of those things that's not specifically related to anything. Like, maybe Lily, because it's plant, but it's Lylene. But I just think that it, you know, it gives it like sort of a regal sense of entitlement, like it's a human. And then it helps that Lylene is a waifu. I mean, so Phalaris. Phalaris is next. I do not like Phalaris. That's like Lunaris, but worse. Phalaris, F-A-L-E-R-I-S. I think that's just kind of a lame name. Then there's Orzerk. Orzerk. I don't really like that either. I think Orzerk is kind of a gross name. Next up is Shadowbeak. Guess what? That's another F tier. You just took two words and shoved them together, and they shouldn't have been shoved together. Like, the most basic words of those things, too. Like shadow, which is such an overused thing now. And then beak, which is like, you're... Like, birds are more than just their beaks, okay? Like, even Shadow Wing would have been better than Shadowbeak. And Shadow Wing would have been lame also, but it still would have been better than Shadow Beak. It's like beak, Shadow Beak, beacon. Like, can you stop with the beaks, dude? There's nothing cool about beaks. Next up is Palladius. I have not seen this pal yet. I haven't seen half the legendaries. I'm in game. I got to level 50, but I haven't found this dude yet. Palladius, I think, is probably S tier name, especially because we're talking about like Pals and Palworld, like having a legendary, which I believe he's a legendary, have Pal in it. And yeah, like Palladius that has like some etymology in like, is it Egypt or I don't know, some kind of, but it's some kind of guard is what Palladius, like that, like Palladium, Palladian, I don't know, something like that. There's some kind of connection between Palladius, the general sound of that, and the fact that it's like a guard, some kind of ancient guard. But like that's really good. That is a fantastic name. Then there's Necromis, which is the same thing, but like a dark type. Necromis. It's definitely not as cool as Palladius. Necromis, if that's how you pronounce it. Necromis is not good, so I'm assuming it's not that. Necromis sounds better. Necromis is probably B tier then. If you pronounce it like that enough and get used to it, then Necromis can be, yeah, it can be something. It's not amazing, but it's fine. Then we have Frostallion. This is a pretty basic mergence of Frost and Stallion. Like that's something anybody would have come up with, which is fine because that means that it works and is okay. But that means it's not any better than okay either. So Frostallion gets C tier for the name. And then we have Jetragon. That's an F. Jetragon. Jetragon. Awful name. Horrendous name. Yeah. That's just really bad. Okay, so let's like go through this. Maybe I'll order like S and A tier real quick. So Jormuntide Ignis, absolutely. Then Hangyu, then Jormuntide, then Palladius. I think that is correct. A tier, the best name, I think Blazomet goes in the front, followed by Tombat, followed by Killamari, followed by Hucrates, followed by Daydream, then Mozzarina. I think Capricorn goes ahead of Mozzarina. I think Kelpsy goes ahead of Mozzarina. And I think Wumpo goes ahead of Mozzarina. Yeah, I think that's fine right there. What? Okay, I do want to decide, like, what is the absolute worst name? Is it Eikthyr still? Because that just sounds horrendous to say. And it is impossible to type. And it's just so bad in every respect. I think Eikthyr has to actually definitely be the worst name. All that matters is that Eikthyr is the absolute worst name, and Jormuntide Ignis is the absolute best name. So that's going to do it for this tier list. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. I'm hoping to work on a more definitive PAL ranking for like the PALs themselves rather than just their names, but I wanted to get this out first because this is easier to do so that we can keep the content coming while I work on bigger videos. But yeah, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time.